So the continuation, this will be the continuation on that brew. I started with that kit that I'm showing here. I let it sit for a while, this Brewology 202, which had 2 bags of DME that were solid as a rock in it. And if I can go over the instructions on how bad these are, they literally say get a large brewing vessel, add a gallon of water, the dark crystal malt, if it was going to be the dark one, because it's supposed to be 2 different beer kits. The cracked grains, use a rolling pin or a millet. 2 cups of granulated sugar, so white sugar, and a tablespoon of salt. And then they just said, bring it to a boil, add the hops, half of the hops, cool it down, put it in a container, add half the pack of yeast, and let it ferment. So you leave the grains in with the beer, and you don't even actually mash them, you just sit them in and boil. That's pretty bad. So we'll be doing this a better way. This I would never recommend, okay? Like, I would maybe recommend the kit if you can get this in the States, I think it's from. You know, but to actually brew it how they say there, not advisable whatsoever. So that DME, I did let it sit, and it surprisingly did unclump faster than I thought. It's been sitting here for a day, and I just was deciding on what to do, because it wasn't the best, first off, to maybe, this would have been my water for the grains, so now I don't want to use that because it's going to soak up all the DME, like water now. So I might make a DME brew, since I got some medium and dark DME. I might throw that in, and I still might use whatever grains are here, debating if I'll use more, but probably not. So I'll just mill these up and use a separate pot and mash them in that, in a little bag. So that'll be this, and I'll pitch it on a yeast. So I have 1 gallon pretty much of water in my tankle pot here. I got it heating up. I should really probably watch my temperature, so it might heat up quick. In this bowl, hopefully you can see it, I did stick 1 pound of 2-row base malts. They're crystal and pale malts, and they're crystal and black grain in there, which combine to 1 pound 9 ounces. So that means there was 4.5 ounces in each bag there. So I'm going to mill this up. I'm going to stick it in a bag and probably put this in right away and have it mash. And we'll see, I'll probably use this water even to sparge it, put it in here with these 2 bags of spray malt, Mutton's Dark and the medium, and we'll see what the gravity level's at. If I have to add a bit more, I will. If not, we'll call it a beer. So I milled up that small amount of grains, and I will stick this in a muslin bag and then put it in here. As you can see, I'll just be moving this. I put it in the muslin bag and soaking it in the gallon of water, which almost doesn't seem like enough. This stainless spoon, I can make sure there's no dry spots. And this will definitely probably absorb more water than I wanted. I think it's like normally 1 pound per gallon grist, but I do have 1 gallon to over 1.75 pounds of grains, but it's okay. It's going to be for flavor. We'll see if it converts. Well, it will. I'll let it soak for 45 minutes. That'll be more than enough time. You can definitely see there's a lot of color from all those crystal grains. And what we got in here is a fair bit of a dark colored wort, even though it wasn't that much DME. So I got this. I did top up a bit more water. You can see the color in there. And we're at 133 Fahrenheit right now, so I want to be around 150, 150. 4 even's okay by me right now because it's going to be a shorter mash. I'm going to let that go. I'm going to put the heat on the boil pot that already has some wort in there. I'm going to add the DME into this pot. I'm going to let this go because this can boil for a while this still rests, and then I'll just combine the two. This is just, again, one of these, whatever, I got stuff around, throw it together, brews kind of thing going on. I did pick up that kit dirt cheap and just wanted to see it, but even though I'm modifying it because it's not very good, and I'll make it a better beer than it could have ever been. So, as I said, I'm sure you can see me in this, I'm just using that tripod again. So, really, before it steams up, because it's been sitting at room temperature, which in this place isn't very high. Just gonna jump in the DME. That's bag one. That was the dark, so this is going to be a pretty dark beer, which is okay by me. This one's medium. You can see that wort sitting in the pot. It's not very, it's pretty dark. I'll just use a whisk or something to mix that up. Don't want any clumps. Again, I normally don't brew like this, and I'm currently uploading my whole part one of my double decoction dark wheat beer that I made, so I can actually post the whole video of part 1 and 2 so you guys can see, but that didn't have a tripod like I have now, so when I get to another all grain batch in the garage doing a double decoction, I'll definitely have my tripod going, so it'll be a bit better of a stable video. So in the drawer, stainless whisk this around, don't want any clumps because it probably won't unclump itself. That, and I got this spoon I could use. Just waiting for this temperature to rise up. I don't want to crank it. I'll have to mix it around to make sure it's consistent in temperature everywhere. That is a panko pot, so it's pretty even and thick. Okay, I'm going to pause this now. So, I have the mini mash sitting in there. It's about 1054. I'm going to let it sit. If anything, I'll turn it on really low. I have my strainer ready, and this stuff foaming up. I haven't even checked the gravity of it. I guess I could do that right now. I'm trying to not make a mess. So I'll be using this later to sparge the grains. So I'll just put that there. I have my refractometer here. I'll just use my thermometer. I've already stirred this up pretty good. You get me a few drops. See what gravity we're staying at now. Because again, I've added a kg of DME and the little bags that it came with that weren't that big. And I don't know if you can see me do this, but it's at 1060, but it's not 5 gallons of beer yet. 5 gallons will be up the top, so I say we're at 3.5 plus this, so we'll see. Maybe I'll make a 4 gallon batch, whatever. I don't think I'll be adding anything more. So back up this goes. If anything drips off the spoon or anything, it's just going to go back in. And I'll just check the temperature on my very dark mini mash. I have the timer on for 45 minutes. And we'll just make this a dark whatever beer. And again, it came with this amount of hops for actually making 5 gallons of beer. Supposed to put half in each. It's supposed to have been 2 separate 2.5 gallon batches, and I can't even open the bag. Definitely tell I don't do drugs. Jeez, difficult. I'll edit that, I guess. There we go, that's easier. Sounds just dark, earthy, not much smell to them. So I've got this on fairly high. See if I get it to a boil. Just foam it up. It might. soon. As you can hear, that pot's trying to come to a boil. Got my thermometer in there, it says it's 177, so it's still got a bit away. Temperature's still holding at this at like 150. 153, so 25 minutes left on the mash, getting that to boil. I'll literally just get the bag, stick it in the colander, and maybe mash out with the liquid from this, bring it to a boil, and I'm going to naturally let it cool down, I think. Just put it outside, let it cool down, and then pitch it on the yeast cake tonight, and top it up with water if need be. Freelance tripoding it here right now, because I got that through a hole. You can see it says, I can see it, it says 209.6.7 degrees Fahrenheit, but it's actually boiling, so maybe my thermometer is out of whack. It's almost up to, it says 210 now. Should be 212, but it is actually boiling. You can see right there. I'll still leave the colander in. Just turn it down. Yeah, so this calibration on this thermometer, I'd say it's a couple degrees off. The CND one's supposed to be really good, and this model is the DT392. It says right on it. It should be saying 212 right now. It says 210.9 because it is boiling. As you can see, it's sticking in it, and we're still sitting. Who knows at what then? We might be over or might be over 152 in here then if that thermometer's off by a degree. So this is still feeling good, and I checked it not long ago. 15 minutes, 14 minutes left on the mash, and again, like, I'm just gonna put the muslin bag with the grains in here, and I'll sparge it with the liquid from this, which is pretty dark, and that's pretty dark, and I'll just use this tiny little bag of hops to bitter it, and then I'll add whatever I feel like. That's supposed to do 5 gallons. No idea what it even is. Pretty compressed though. And here it keeps going. So I definitely have a boil going on this. That's the 45 minute timer on. I did heat it up just at the end there a bit to maybe like a bit of a mash out. So I'll take out my thermometer that might be off a degree. Lid off the mash. Try not to make a mess. Just set that there. Really curious what the best way to do this would be. Not drop the colander in the boiling wort. That's a blooper reel there, and I know I made a mess on the stove. Didn't do that last time. Try and put this on the lid. That side's very hot now. Try and lift this up. It's really hot. I wish I had those silicone gloves. And I'll clean up any mess on my stove after. So I'll have that sit there in the drain. So cooking on the stove top, you're always going to make a mess. I'll do a quick wipe down on that, because wort is very sticky stuff. It'll bake on pretty good. It's like sugar. So this is still boiling in here. Sorry for the off-camera rinse in there. I'm thinking I might just use a ladle if it's to my convenience. I'm not sure how safe it'll be, and I'll definitely have to wipe the stove some more. I'm just going to gently kind of mash out. Spread the grains out a bit more. Mash out like this. Might be better than a ladle. Pyrex measuring cup. Especially one that holds so much. Make sure the drips don't go anywhere. Gently pouring it over And I did do a quick check of the gravity of this, and I was getting 1040. So I will be able to dilute it with a gallon or so. So it'll at least probably be a 5-gallon batch. I was supposed to make 5 gallons to start with, just that 2 little bags of DME, which I guess I can post a picture in, because I took a picture of it. And the little bags of grain that held 4.5 ounces each. And then, of course, 2 cups of white sugar. Not happening. I don't want to have a cider beer. Should at least said brewing sugar, brew enhancer, dextrose. But nope. So when I get down really to the nitty gritty, I'll pour the pot in it. Maybe I'll dilute it with a bit of water. I'll get some. Wait for the hot water to go on quick. As you see that steam away. So I'll let that run a bit, and I'll spark it with a bit of hot water as well. As you see me gently pouring this. Oh, that's a blooper reel again. Not supposed to happen. Didn't happen last time. No harm done, no mess on me. Excruciating hot. Bit more of a mess to clean up. Lesson will be learned. Maybe this isn't the one I used. I think it was though. So I'm just trying not to touch the colander in my limited space I have, as you hear the water running in the background. A bit of junk in there. Get the pot in there. My hot water comes out really hot. Do a bit of a rinse of actual water instead of all that sugars, because there could be still some sugars in there. And we'll be getting up to a near 5 gallons in this anyways. And if this ends up being one of those no-chills, I could stick it in a cube, like they do in Australia. Every morning there's quite a bit of frost. It is mid-November. I think I'll call that good. I'll pull this out. See what else drains out of this. I'll definitely have to do some editing here. Quick over to here. Show you how much I got in there, and again that's a 5-gallon pot, and you can see a bit of the mess I'll be cleaning up. So let's just call this first wort hopping, because I don't even know what hop this is. There they go in. It wasn't even that much, I didn't even measure it, it's probably half an ounce. So I want to add probably a bit more hops to bitter it and some other for flavor. I'll decide that as I go. So you saw I threw those hops in as first wort hops. It is a bit steamy. Just getting up to a full boil now after putting in that mini mash. I got the refractometer on it, just letting it cool down to get the gravity, but it was over 1045-ish, and it's still accommodating from the boiling temperatures, so maybe we'll just leave this as is and not add any top-up water, because I don't want any beers under 1050. So So there's a bit of grain in this and mostly DME, I guess. But it's a hodgepodge mix, and haven't decided on hops yet. So we'll let it go from here. Gonna do at least a 15-minute boil. That's the minimum, and I'm not calling this a boil yet. I might just put on my timer 30 minutes, and then I'll just count down from there, because I don't think I'll do over a 30-minute boil. It's unnecessary. I'm good with, 15 to 20 on something like this. Just shut off the fan to do a bit more filming. You can see it's really boiling well. I got, well, it's been in there 4 minutes now. It's not even on full tilt. So this stove can boil 5 gallons. I'll put the fan back on, of course, when I shut the camera off. But it's going well. Debating on the hops still. I have a couple of British beers on the go, so I'm not thinking of putting a British hop in. Maybe a nice, maybe I'm thinking Galaxy if I got it. I think I do. So maybe put a bit of that in, and hopefully that bittering hop works. Okay, and on top of that, the pre-boil on this amount was 1048. So I might just leave it be and leave it the quantity too, and I'll just call it whatever beer I get. It's been over a 15-minute boil. I got some Galaxy hops here, vacuum sealed. I'll have to grab some scissors. I'm just going to call these like flame out hops. Just going to cut them. I'm going to weigh the bag to see how much I'm putting in. Don't got that much here. Probably got 2 ounces. So my volume doesn't look bad. And I'm actually going to flame it out. And go to hops. Put it back on the scale, see what I got. Yeah, I put an ounce in. So now, I give it a stir. Oh my, that smells so good. I haven't had Galaxy hops in a while. Woo! I don't think I have many left, so good use for them and a little batch. Put the lid on. I might go to the extreme. And tinfoil the edges. I don't know if that's going to help that much. And I'm going to set it outside. And then deal with it tonight if it's cool enough. I normally, I could use my immersion word chiller and all that, but I'm not even going to stick this in the sink. It's cool enough outside. So that's how it stands. Still making noise. Take my timer off, see where this is going. And I literally am just going to set it outside in my backyard and let it cool down, call it a brew, and I'll film it again while I funnel it into a carboy with a yeast cake in it. And there it is outside in its resting space on a piece of wood. So hopefully I can smell those hops. It was making a hop smell all the way. Wow, those Galaxy hops are really good. Hopefully the tinfoil stays on. I guarantee nothing will go in there. There's no bugs. That's extra security. And it'll stay like that for quite a few hours. I'll check the temperature by touching the pot. And I don't think I'm adding any water to this. This will be the amount I'm getting, and that's it. Well, it's nice and sunny now. I let that sit overnight. Already cleaned out the funnel. I'm star saying it. Pitch this right on this cheesecake. Put that on a piece of tin foil here, so it's going to stay sanitary. Tin foil off. Work naturally cooled down overnight. Pitching it right on that yeast cake. How much beer is how much I get? It was over 1050. as the tinfoil flies. I'll leave all the hop shrub. So, maybe I only got 3 gallons of beer, but it's still 3 gallons of beer. Put the airlock on. It's well aerated. Right on that yeast cake. And I'm sure it'll be pumping away pretty soon. And as you can see, that airlock's going. There's quite a bit of crow's on, nothing like it was before. That was that IPA stovetop brew I made, which I actually bottled. So it's in bottles right now, and this is the extras of the dark wheat beer with bitter English bitter can kit in it, which I think I pitched a fresh pack at Nottingham in, and it's pretty much done fermenting, as well as the wheat beer, which I just haven't dealt with them yet. Maybe keg space, something like that, we'll see. But you can definitely see, you know, sometimes pitching on yeast cake can be scary, but not always. And again, it's not that much beer, I'm not that worried. Still fun.
Last night I drank more than I usually do. Morning has come, now I feel blue, pounding in my brain.